Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rumors of Heresy. Today we've got another battle with the Gladius Ultramarine list that I've been using against the Legion of Excess, which is all Chaos Demons with Slaanesh. So, folks, if you like this kind of content, if you want to see this channel succeed, if you want to be informed when this channel has more updates to it, please hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, comment. It helps the channel tremendously. Huge appreciation for every person who has already subscribed. If we can get it to 1,000, it would be extremely appreciated, guys. Thank you guys. Thank you all so much. So I had to drive to Laramie. This is game 2 of an RTT, so just a very quick recap of what's going on here. We had to go, had to drive to Laramie, Wyoming. That's basically Hoth this time of year. It's fine, actually. Everything is fine, and you can see the tables are pretty nice. Actually, it's nice. It's just kind of a luxury here to have access to these tables to be able to go all the way around it. Usually at an RTT or a GT, you just don't have space like this. So this is actually really nice. Their terrain is really nice. It's a really good thing. Who knew that Wyoming actually had this? And then there's toys over in the corner for when you're done with your games. So pretty cool stuff, honestly. Here's my army. I had to borrow some jump pack intercessors. Whoa. Over on the left-hand side there, you can see there's Space Wolves, and a huge appreciation to Ryan, the guy who lent them to me. Lovely painted jump pack intercessors, actually. So anyways, that's what the army looks like. Here is my actual list, and you can find the full list in the video description if that's something you're interested in. You can see if I have a power fist or power sword on characters, etc. And it's in the video description. And this is the same list that I had some pretty good success with at the Las Vegas Open a little bit ago, so that was awesome. It's been awesome. I just want more reps with this because this is potentially the list, or at least close to the list, that I want to take to the new the Rocky Mountain Open in a month and a half, something like that, which is another big tournament. It's in Denver, so I don't have to go anywhere. But one way or another, we've got a lot of different cool stuff. I built the list just to be flexible, basically. It does some good damage, and it makes use of the double oath, of course, with Roboute, and Marneus is advance and charge, and advance and shoot and charge, and fall back, shoot and charge, all the nonsense. Jump back intercessors and Stern Guard are both deep striking. Stern Guard can deep strike because Uriel hands them that ability, and basically we're just trying to create pressure in the right places and let the game kind of come to us. Reactive, responsive kind of force that hopefully is able to get good results. So my first match was against Firestorm Salamanders. You can find a link to that in the video description, and you guys can earmuffs if you don't want to know the result. So I won that one, and we're moving on to this one against the Legion of Excess Slaanesh Demons. It's a really scary list. This one has 3 different Keepers of Secrets. One of them is Shalaxi, so the named one, she's like 500 points or 400, something crazy like that, along with a couple characters. One of them is going to be in the unit with some Demonettes. There's 2 units of Demonettes, 2 units of Seekers, 3 units of 3 Fiends, and I thought that 3 units of 3 was just kind of too small of a unit, honestly, guys, but oh my gosh, they are so good at killing stuff. Actually, even just at 3, that's enough. It's enough. They do a lot of damage, and they're fairly resilient if you play them the right way, which I think my opponent did, in fact. And then a couple Beasts of Nurgle on this list keeps to round things out. So pretty good list, honestly. It's fairly terrifying, potentially unfairly terrifying. Now let's get into the actual report, shall we? All right, here we are. So I lost the roll to go second. I have to go first, and we're playing table quarters here with what is it? Search and destroy. I take and hold, search and destroy. Yeah, search and destroy is the table quarters. Right. So, anyways, we've got scouts here just threatening my expansion objective, and I mean, really, we're just trying to be responsive to what my opponent is doing. We got intercessors on the home objective just to make it sticky and to be responsive, and they actually got some action in this game. So, no spoilers, but a little spoilers. The the tank here is, I really like putting this tank right here in the corner because it's protected. No one has line of sight to it. But then, if we need it to, we can have it here. Let's zoom out a little bit. So it can come out here and target things over here, have line of sight to a couple different places, or it can move up here and just have line of sight to different things. So some pretty good places for it to be. And then with search and destroy with this table quarters thing, we can have our tank a little bit deeper into the deployment zone. And I can't really remember why I put this little space here. I think just for the scouts, in case I wanted to put the scouts there, give them an option to kind of tuck into this little corner. Of course, then we have Marneus that can come over here, get into this little nook, and then just get onto the objective if needed to, or they can go over here. It's also protecting the Predator, and then of course we have Roboute and Uriel kind of just creating that Vect aura so that they're not going to be able to do as much stuff, and then just threatening that center. I don't really want to mess with the center. If my opponent will leave it alone, I will leave it alone, and if they don't, then I'll be able to just jump on it with a bunch of different units. So and this Predator of course can advance, or can move over this obstacle and be able to get all sorts of line of sight, or can back up, get line of sight here, get to kind of right here and see the most of this objective. Lots of good placement here, I think. So in response, my opponent just has one of the Seekers here. I forget which one is Shalaxi, this one or this one, but two keepers there, one of which is Shalaxi. Let's see, Fiends, and I believe Fiends are right here. There's some Demonettes over here. It looks like maybe he has some Demonettes in reserve. I don't really remember that well, honestly. I think he at least had both of his Beasts of Nurgle deep striking. But one way or another, we have both of our jump pack intercessors, or we have our jump pack intercessors and Stern Guard deep striking this game, and we have a Ballistus in strategic reserve. This is it's going to be an interesting game because he is super fast and he gets second turn. So we have to give a lot of pressure. If we can, we need to exert pressure so that we can get an earlier fight. And basically, I think we're going to have to kill most of these Demonettes, or well, just demons in general. So this is, I barely moved. We barely moved after, this is after the scout move. So the scouts move back a little. You don't want to be on the objective unless you absolutely have to for some reason after your scouts, because then if your opponent is able to, I mean, they can just take your objective from you potentially if you get your scout move. You don't want to open yourself to any unpleasantness. May as well just back them up and then evaluate what you want to do in your first turn. So that's basically it, though. I think the scouts basically stay at the same place, and we're ready to go. So nothing too crazy this turn. You can see Marneus and company just inhabiting this building, ready to threaten the objective. Predator just scooched over into the corner a little more. The scouts wanted to go uppy downy here, but they don't really want to mess with this objective too much when Marneus has mostly got it covered. We have the Ballistus just hanging out here, while Roboute and Uriel and company are all 1 inch off of the wall. Now remember, from the last video that I was talking about, the little gap in the building is nothing. It's just a continuous wall. It just the terrain was kind of divided in half, so it just sometimes comes apart, and that doesn't mean that you have line of sight magically through there. It just means that there's a little gap there that happens. The scouts did get onto the objective, and I drove the Predator way up here because he doesn't have much shooting. He's probably not going to be able to threaten the Predator with much shooting, and the idea here is once it gets to this position, then it can go on down the flank and have some good shots without being really that threatened to be charged, or if it needs to, it could just crash through here, and then he has line of sight all the way down the board here if he really wants. So having the the tank way up in the corner here eventually really sets you up for success. It's a really nice place for it to be, and I just wanted to see where my opponent was going to go at that point. So anyways, we've got, he drew Bring It Down this turn, which I thought was really interesting. So he took one of the Seekers and just drove them over here and charged the tank, which you'll see the Marneus actually, we're kind of skipping forward a little bit, but the Marneus and company just jumped in here and heroic intervened, killed about half of the hit points off of the keeper. Meanwhile, the keeper decided that it was going to be a little bit nicer to get kills on Marneus' squad, which I can't really blame him. I'm not sure if that heroic intervention was actually wise or not. I wanted to stop him from getting any points, and I really like having the predators alive to be able to kill stuff. So I did heroic intervene. I'll have to think about that a little bit later, though. I'm not sure if that was wise. And then, of course, she ended up 6 inches away from the scouts, so they couldn't do their uppy. Meanwhile, on other parts of the board, way before that, combat distracted me. You can see that for the most part, they just kind of, the guys on the top just kind of stayed bunkered down, waiting for whatever. I think that there's a unit of Seekers right inside of here. In fact, I'm sure of it. And then this is, I believe, the mask right there. It's just a character, a lone op character. I almost called it an independent character. That's what we used to call them back in the day. Here's some fiends, and then look at how fast they are. Gosh, Shalaxi and company. So we've got some Seekers right here, some fiends here. Here's Shalaxi. I think that's about it, though. Yeah, so we got fiends in 3 different places, here, here, and here. And those guys are so fast. They can move through walls. They can do all that nonsense. And anyways, so I ended up losing 3 company hero characters, which wasn't my very favorite thing, of course. But the Predator was fine. And before she jumped into melee with them, she did end up doing 1 dev wound shot into my Ballistus Dreadnought here, which was tragic, actually. Which is interesting because I believe that at some point those dice got knocked away or something, and we weren't paying attention to it. And at some point, you'll see the Demonettes just do some crazy stuff to that Ballistus. Anyways, so at the end of turn 1, I didn't get any points at all. I had rolled assassination and didn't get it. I had rolled overwhelming force and obviously couldn't get it, and so I rolled no prisoners. I think I discarded assassination and kept overwhelming force, or failed on overwhelming force. I kept no prisoners. You can see I scored a couple on that one. Otherwise, he got established locust. He didn't score and Bring It Down, and he discarded it. So it's 4-2. Really high scores to start. I was just glad that he didn't get some really high secondaries, because that was a really rough turn for me, getting 0 on them. So on my own turn, I decided to go a little bit crazy because we've got no prisoners, and I wanted to take some prisoners, or the lack thereof. So the moment, of course, went on this keeper, because we can't have that keeper survive. We just really can't have that keeper surviving. And otherwise, what I decided to do, and I'm still not sure about this, folks. I kind of forced the action, but it was almost forced too much action. Uriel and company went out here, and they ended up charging the Seekers that were up against the wall here, and they deleted the Seekers, no problem. That wasn't too tough. You know, I think they had the second oath, and we just took them out, no problem. So we got no prisoners for 2. And that's basically it. I put 1 Ballistus here just to kind of be a roadblock, an impediment to if Shalaxi wanted to. I mean, she can move directly through the wall, but she can charge here. There wasn't any doubt that she could charge. What I really wanted to do was avoid her being able to get into Marneus' squad. We really don't want Marneus to be taken out at this point, and she can do a catastrophic amount of damage. So I would rather her come and just threaten a Ballistus, even though the Ballistus is probably one of the best ways to kill her. I'm not totally sure. I think it was wise to have something blocking here. I think probably what I should have done, if I had executed better, I could have had the scouts here in a better position to to just oh yeah, the keeper exploded, by the way, doing a ton of damage to both this tank and to the scouts, and I think to Marneus' squad too. Oh, there's another one of them alive, actually. Cool, good for them. But yeah, it was not good. It killed 2 scouts. The scouts, however, could have been in a place that they could have uppy downied, and then they eventually could have been my screeners. They could have come in here instead of the ballistas and screened, because we don't need the output of the scouts. We just need something to block Shalaxi from getting too far into our lines, right? So that, I mean, I think if I had been wise, I could have done that. We could have had Marneus and company just go here and kind of just line the walls 1 inch so they couldn't charge, and therefore that would kind of the scouts could come, Shalaxi could come and just die, or potentially the fiends, but we could trade with either of those just fine. The scouts can die, and then we could delete whatever came here, and we could prolong that trade, but we wouldn't be giving a really juicy, nice target with the ballistas. So kind of a mistake on my part, but now I've kind of forced the issue, because he can't just let Uriel camp out in the middle, and Uriel's not going to die to just 1 squad of fiends or something, or 1 squad of demonettes. He's going to need to full send if he wants to clear that zone, or that objective, which I think was a mistake as well. I needed to find something else that could trade on here, or just only take a 2 on the no prisoners killing that keeper, and then just let the Seekers do their thing eventually, not get as many points. But one way or another, I decided, I was like, let's play Warhammer, and did that attack, killed the Seekers, got some points on no prisoners. In response here, you can see he full sent, killed, just wiped out that Uriel squad. The thing that really impressed me and surprised me was, you can see there's a ballistas-shaped ring of demonettes here. So they do this thing called skank shock. Well, I mean, that's what he calls it, but it's basically however many of them can get in within engagement range of something, then you can spend 1 CP, and it's like a tank shock with them on a 4+, I believe, that you take mortal damage, and then they also can also just do devastating wounds and get full hits and full rerolls on hits and wounds against whatever they're hitting. So they just deleted the Dreadnought. It wasn't really even that close. I didn't get any saves. He just died, and I think that he got over 12 damage total anyways, which is what I was kind of referring to before. So the good news is my combi lieutenant did have the presence of mind to flee to the safety of the zone. We still have Roboute, and my opponent did make sure he kept outside of engagement range here with the skank shock. And this is all consolidation moves, so even if I wanted to heroic intervene in, it didn't work. Now I had heroic in my jump pack intercessors. Again, I think I made a mistake. I threw them over here somewhere, so that if I needed to, I could heroic in. So we had his Seekers come out from this building over here. And they charged Marneus' squad, which I think Marneus' squad would have just killed him anyways, but instead I had these guys heroic intervene. I kind of, now that I'm looking at it, I made some fairly big misplays, because I think the jump intercessors would have been a lot better into the demonettes. I don't think the demonettes one-shot both the ballistas and all the jump intercessors, and the jump intercessors can force the demonettes to hit before they can do their gambit, which the gambit, if you're not familiar with that, is a thing where they decide to not strike first in return for re-rolling hits and wounds, which re-rolling the wounds on dev wounds is really nice. So and ballistas will just kill a couple demonettes anyways. It doesn't matter, he'll just kick a couple and then he'll die. If he had been charged by the demonettes and then the jump intercessors heroic intervened and got a lot of guys into him, the jump intercessors probably wipe out the demonettes if they do that gambit. So the demonettes would be far less effective if they did that. I think looking back, I probably should have done that. I just didn't have any notion that the Demonettes would be able to kill a Ballistus. So hindsight it's 2020, and the Seekers did end up killing a couple of the guys. Meanwhile, Shalaxi did come over here and just ruined the Ballistus. Poor guy. Could have been the scouts instead, but instead he didn't. And you can see my scouts, I think I did do uppy here. By the time I took this picture, I did put the scouts up into reserve, I believe. I think that's what happened, or maybe they just died to her shooting or something. Well, I guess we'll see in the next slide, but one way or another, poor Uriel and company just got totally wasted here, and we're kind of on our back on our heels, folks. We're not doing super well, honestly. He had a really nice turn, put us into some pretty tricky situations here, and we have. We both scored 10 for taking hold, and then, of course, I got no prisoners. I also got secure no man's land at the end of turn 2. He got containment, which is super nice, pretty easy. You got recover assets, and it's gonna be a brawl here, folks. It's gonna be a total brawl, and he's actually ahead right now by 2. So on my turn, let's see. You can see I got the tank moved. It was over here. It moved over onto the objective just to kind of block it out, just so we could have some line of sights to things. The big thing here was I got the intercessors out, and they were able to eventually shoot and charge the demonettes and just killed all of them. Roboute moved out here, and I believe I wanted to kill the fiends because they're four wounds each, and the keeper I really wanted. You can see we have the second oath target here on the keeper, but Shalaxi had the first one, so we wanted to kill Shalaxi, and Shalaxi ended up being really tough to kill, but we did kill. Let's see, there was a unit of demonettes here, there was a unit of fiends here, and then of course we have the jump intercessors, who I decided to charge into, I think, the remainder of the fiends and the demonettes. Down south, of course, Shalaxi saved a bunch. So okay, we got the Stern Guard in. They deep struck, and they were able to shoot Shalaxi. Oh yeah, they were over here, actually. We deep struck them over here. They shot everything into Shalaxi. The Predator failed. She has this strat where this detachment has a strat where they're able to force you into taking a leadership, and you have to take like a +2. Like you have to get like an 8 or a 9, something like that, on your unit to shoot. And so we did that to my tank. Tank wasn't able to shoot Shalaxi, which really sucked, actually. I really needed that, because Shalaxi went on this crazy spree where she saved, like, I think it was like 10 in a row on 4 pluses, and then a bunch of feel no pains after that, and it was just like I was running out of units to be able to shoot with, and the ballistas were already gone, and I believe she was actually visible to this Predator as well, and everything was just bouncing off. So I did just enough. I had to throw a grenade, I had to do all this stuff. I had Marneus' squad over here ready to charge her and all of this stuff. And finally, so she was down to like 2 wounds left. I still wasn't. She was saved so many times. It was insane. My opponent was like in awe of all of the saving rolls that he had made as well. So I was like, okay, I'm desperate. I have to charge with the Stern Guard. And so they charge and wipe her out. She actually just died really easily at that point. She had 2 wounds left, and they have a ton of attacks, though she did negate all of their attacks down to 3 each. I did manage to kill him. And then Marneus and company also, I think, oh yeah, they attacked her, and then they consolidated onto this objective to keep my opponent from scoring on it, which was nice. I think he had some fiends back here. So anyways, good little clap back. He's got a keeper left. He's got fiends, and he's got fiends, and that's basically it. Some beasts of Nurgle right here. You can see one of them, but it was a good turn for me. Good clap back, like I said, and but he still has a full health seeker here, and a keeper of secrets, and 2 squads of fiends, which 3 fiends in the end game can do a lot of crazy stuff. So let's see. Oh, I guess we. Hold on, let's back up just a little bit here, folks. So On his return turn, he was able to take the Fiends and wipe out the jump back Intercessors here. And his other Fiends on the other side were able to wipe out Roboute. Somehow they wiped out all of Roboute. And the Keeper comes over here. He doesn't want to mess with... sorry, Roboute. I meant Marneus. So he wipes out Marneus. The Keeper comes over here. I think it was actually the Keeper that wiped out Marneus. The Fiends come over here and wipe out pretty much all of the Stern Guard as well. So I don't have the Jump Intercessors. I have most of the Stern Guard gone. I have Marneus no more because the Keeper just deleted him somehow. Just crazy stuff. I mean, I think I rolled a little bit poorly and he rolled a little well, but in either way, just I couldn't believe Marneus died. So he's got his Keeper way down here. He's got Fiends right here threatening me, and it's just a total mess. Even though I mostly wiped him out, he was still good to go. So let's see, on my own turn. Oh, you know what? I think he put his Beast of Nurgle here, and then I think he put one down here, actually. So, onto his home objective so his Fiends could go out. So, anyways, on his turn and my I managed to get... Let's see, on turn 3, I again didn't score anything, actually. I kept Area Denial, however, and he scored Engage on all fronts, he scored Overwhelming Force, but he didn't score on his primary. So I'm ahead by 1 banner here going into turn 4, and this is just another picture of what happened. So turn 4, we had to play fairly quickly because we had taken so much time with all of our combats and all of the different movement and rolls and everything. We were almost out of time. So anyways, I was able, so his Keeper is over here, I'm not doing well. I managed to kill his Fiends, managed to kill his Fiends over here in the middle using like all the other stuff that I had left. So I killed all his Fiends. His Beast of Nurgle went over here onto the objective and threatened it. So these guys went and threatened the objective, of course. And then these Fiends over here, they had charged here. I wiped them out with my concentrated firing. And then on my turn 4, I managed to take Roboute. He got Soul Doctrine, advanced, and charged on the Beast of Nurgle, killing the Beast of Nurgle, taking my opponent's home objective away. And so at the end of turn 4, which is where we ended it, he had 1 Beast of Nurgle that was just kind of swamped and overwhelmed by all the scouts, and the Combi Lieutenant, and the Intercessors, and the Predator. He had 1 Keeper of Secrets that I did. We decided not to roll it, but I think I would have done some good damage against her. But she probably still would have been alive, and that's it. That's all my opponent would have, was just 1 Beast of Nurgle and 1 Keeper of Secrets. And so at the end of it, I ended up getting... we got the same score on secondaries. I got Area Denial, Defense Stronghold, 4-8. He got Cleanse and Storm Hostile, and that would have been it. I think turn 5 would have been a pretty big swing for me, but just because he didn't have anything left, I would have been able to prevent him from scoring as much, and I would have scored a lot on my own. But who really knows for sure? Ended up, though, folks, with a very narrow 57-56 win. You guys heard me talk about the mistakes I made. I think I did make a few pretty big errors. I threw away 2 ballistas that I didn't really need to. And that happens, man. Sometimes you make mistakes, unfortunately. I mean, Roboute in the end killed that unit of Fiends, and then killed the Nurgle demon, the Nurgle beast, whatever, and he ended up clinching it for me, I think. But gosh, this army hits so dang hard, guys. It really does. And if they start hitting their 4-up saves, it is absolutely obscene. So let's go to the AAR. Huge shout out to my opponent Austin, who was one of the most chill and awesome opponents I've had. He really was. He made what might have been an otherwise tense game just like really relaxing. I really don't even think I would have minded losing to him. Usually I'm like, oh, I don't like to lose, but you know, he was that kind of person that it makes a game so much better. One way or another, you're like, oh, I actually don't mind if I lose. So glad I won, obviously, but whew, crazy game, and couldn't have asked for a better opponent, honestly. All right, so final thoughts here. There were a couple times that I just couldn't shoot with some of my army, and that the strat that makes you roll a leadership, and like you have to pass it on an 8 or a 9, something like that, is just so dang good, folks. And my opponent used it at the perfect times. Just brutal, not being able to shoot an entire unit that you thought you could. Now, to be clear, you can target a different unit, but he used it on the guys that I had that couldn't see anything else. Like I wanted to use Stern Guard to it wasn't Stern Guard. He could have had the Stern Guard do it actually, but I wanted to use the tank to shoot Shalaxi, and he made it so that the tank needed to roll a good leadership or wouldn't be able to. And either way, I think it was -1 to hit regardless if you use the strat. For 1 CP, it's really strong, folks. It really is. So it's impressive strat. I mean, being able, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just destroy this thing, and then your opponent's like, actually, you can't even shoot it at all. It's a pretty big swing. So, I mean, it's impressive. I'm not even complaining. It was just, it was just amazing. Legion of Excess, guys, is the second time I've played it. The first time I played it was against a person who had just not played a lot of reps with it yet, and I didn't see as many tricks as I saw come out here against Austin. And Demonettes killing the Ballistis was just so unexpected, folks. I mean, I could have screened it, I think. I could have done something better than I did, certainly. But I didn't, and this is why you play reps into things, of course, and I was lucky to escape with my life, frankly. Even though I essentially tabled him, it was still a very close game, obviously, but decided by 1 point. And like I said, I think I could have played a little bit better. The rapid ingress on the jump pack intercessors could have been in a better location and used to a better effect, because those seekers weren't going to kill Marneus anyways. So, and anyways, this is a good detachment, and you really have to play well if you want to be able to beat it. I kind of just got lucky more than anything. And then honestly, Shalaxi saving all of those crazy saves in a row, it was just insane. My opponent was totally in awe of it. It was just completely crazy how many saves the keeper made in a row. And I mean, Shalaxi doing that, just it was almost tilting. I don't think I quite got tilted, but it was a very close run thing. And yeah, it was really good. So keeper spam, pretty scary. The fiends spam is pretty scary. I'm curious to see people who take 3 squads of 6 fiends. I'm curious to see how hard they're able to just delete things. Very interested to see it indeed. But anyways, finally, guys, we have a little news just in terms of what's the next event. So we've got the GT here in, I guess, less than a week after I post this. It'll be on the Saturday after I post this, right after Valentine's Day. And then there's an RTT about a month later. I think I'll be able to go to a different RTT, maybe even one in Wyoming a little bit earlier than that. But this is all building up to the Rocky Mountain Open, of course, which is almost a super major. It's 6 rounds. But it's not quite. It's like 200 players with 6 rounds. So there's going to be multiple undefeated players there, which is fine. I hopefully, like, the goal obviously would be to be one of those like 2 or 3 or 4, however many there ends up being. So anyways, stay tuned for that. And then there's the Frontier Open in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I know my face is kind of blocking it. That's toward the end of April. Probably fill in with a few RTTs, but lots of events to be excited about, of course, and look forward to, which is the way I like to play 40k. Just look forward to the next event. So if anyone wants to sponsor me going to Adepticon, let me know. I would love to. I would be so happy and appreciate it. I know no one is likely to, but just throwing it out there. So guys, I'm gonna let you go. Give me feedback as always. I appreciate everyone's likes, subscribes, views, comments, all of those things. So once again, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that if you didn't hear it from me, it's probably heresy. Take care, folks.